All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Golden Note podcast. We're so excited that you're here with us. We are going to be talking about an album by Led Zeppelin called Physical Graffiti.
Wow.
Why did I say that weird? Physical Graffiti. So this is part of our 1001 albums project. If you don't know about it, we'll explain it in the description because I'm sick of explaining it. So let's get right into it with our thoughts on this album. Specifically, we'll start with the history. So it came out in 1975.
Cool.
Long time ago. It's right around the time Pink Floyd is really popular. Led Zeppelin is already a behemoth as well at this point. They've released like 4 or 5 albums before this one. So they're like already like rock royalty when they released this. We're very much in the like classic rock peak era, right? The Eagles are going hard, going strong. And it's just like rock and roll is like very active, alive, and well.
Wow.
When this is released. What do you know about this album, Karen?
Not much.
Before you listen to it?
Not much at all, actually.
No.
I mean, I know of Led Zeppelin. I've listened to some of their songs before. The one with the big blimp.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of them I listened to before. I know there's a great guitar player in the band whose name eludes me.
Oh, no. Oh,
I'm fired.
No.
Disgraced.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So that's all I know. I don't know anything.
It's okay. I'm gonna say it and then you repeat it after me, okay?
Okay.
Jimmy Page.
Page.
Jimmy
James.
Page. Yeah, close.
Jimmy Page.
The right and honorable. Actually, no longer honorable. He's
Ooh.
kind of been canceled recently, but we won't get into that. But Jimmy Page, as a musician and guitar player, was a fantastic musician and guitar player. Him as a person and his personal habits were, and just like the way he conducted himself around women was not good at all.
Oh. Does he not like women?
No, it's just we won't get it. Yeah, he was canceled for inappropriate dealings with women who were too young in the 1970s.
I guess we can leave it at that.
So we'll leave it at that because there's accusations and things like that. Anyways, Jimmy Page as a guitar player, world renowned, always in everyone's like top 5 best guitar players. I might as well name the other people: Robert Plant, lead singer, John Paul Jones, legendary bass player, and John Bonham, one of the best rock drummers of all time.
Yes.
So this band is like an all-star lineup of like some of the best rock musicians the rock world has ever known. So it's kind of funny we're gonna sit here and like critique this album and talk about it because these are like gods in like the rock world. You know, it's like, yeah. I think that like they could have done this better in this album. Meanwhile, they're like on the mountain of like greatest rock drummers, rock people of all time. So
that might be an issue. I mean, accusations are only as big as the person may be, or the truth, and less truth, bigger the person, larger the accusation. So I'll just consider them as musicians rather than gods.
Yeah, we're just talking about the album at this point and the music. So that's what we know about Led Zeppelin, all the legendary musicians in this band, artists. It's called Physical Graffiti. What do you think of the title?
I like it.
Yeah?
It feels like somebody graffitied my face as I was listening to this record.
Okay.
Yeah.
It feels interesting.
And I enjoyed it.
And you enjoyed it. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's a cool name, I guess. It's nothing too wild or interesting or creative, but it's cool. And then the artwork, though, I love the artwork.
Yes.
And this is like the album artwork in and of itself is considered legendary and just like a staple. And like there's many posters of this album artwork. And
yeah, I mean, check it
cool.
out. This reminds me of the house in Taxi Driver, or the apartment building.
Yeah.
And with the idea of physical graffiti in mind, it really, I thought about that a lot. So with all that in the background of my brain from the album cover, very effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it. It kind of there's a Who album that is similar vibes to this. I think it's Quadrophenia or something.
Oh.
I don't know which one came first, but anyways, yeah, I like the album cover a lot. So
Cool.
this is definitely something I'd look at in the vinyl store and be like, huh, cool artwork. I like it. In terms of the music, um, I guess we'll give our general thoughts at the end. So let's start with the first song, Custard Pie, commanding intro, good old gene rock as they say right off the bat.
Yeah.
The bass is really sick in this song. It's just a really cool song. Lots of swagger. There's some slide guitar.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that at the end of the song. And okay, this is gonna be a theme for me. Could have been shorter. The song could have been shorter.
I think the whole album could have been a
Yeah.
little shorter.
Yeah.
But-
What's the run? Do you know the runtime? Can you look it up?
It was
really
almost
quick?
like an hour and a half. I think.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. An hour and a half runtime.
Yeah.
In 2025, guys, it's a lot. You know, we're used to like 7-second entertainment here. So
Yeah, like 82 minutes and 59 seconds. So that's an hour and 23 minutes.
yeah, it's a lot.
That's a movie right there.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a lot of songs, it's a lot of minutes. So, anyways, could have been shorter in my opinion. What did you think of this song?
I liked it. I liked the tone. I think for the time, it's very evocative of what recording bands was like, but also a lot of studio elements that I can imagine were very pricey.
Yeah,
And all that extra budget really came through on this record.
yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Led Zeppelin had all the budget to record this album
Yeah.
at this point.
And apparently all the time.
And apparently all the time in the world. What else are they gonna do? Yeah. So, it's good. The thing that struck me the most was the swagger. It was just very like, you don't hear a lot of rock music these days that has that kind of like coolness to it, right? Like, and I wish there was more like that. It's just uncanny Led Zeppelin coolness. Very bluesy.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about Jimmy Page, especially, is he's very influenced by blues musicians.
The first side of this record definitely is a lot bluesier, more rocky, can be more grungy at times. Second side is a little different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But we'll get there.
We'll get there.
The next song is The Rover. Sorry, did you have more you wanted to say
No,
about the
no,
first
no.
song? No, we're good. The cool guitar riff, very blues inspired once again. It's a 5.5-minute song, so still a bit long, but you know, it's better than 8 or whatever. Like the what felt like the average of all these songs was
Yeah.
like 8 minutes.
It felt
It's
like 8, yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, it's the pre-chorus and the chorus is really great. I loved it. It was kind of like gave me an 80s vibe, the pre-chorus.
Yeah.
Like it reminded me kind of like what 80s bands were doing before the 80s got there, because this is 1975.
Well, it's close. I think it's close enough.
Close enough, yeah.
Some of those sounds are percolating in the
Of
scene, and
course, yeah.
it takes some time to get on record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guitar solo is great. Love a good old guitar solo. And just like the seamless transition between like the swagger of the riff once again to like the more introspective, moody sounds in the chorus. I don't know what to call it, chorus or pre-chorus.
I think pre-chorus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also really cool bouncy bass
Yeah.
throughout the song. That
Yeah,
I
the
really
bass is
liked.
very cool
John
in this
Paul
one.
Jones.
Yeah. Interpol, another band, has a song called The Rover. One of the more recent albums has it. And I wonder if it has anything to do with this song.
Okay.
I have to look into it further, but
Yeah.
the moody vibes of it, I think, were informing Interpol's album, or that record in particular. Yeah.
Yeah, so this one was a standout for me, because I wasn't used to hearing Led Zeppelin with this kind of like ballady rock ballad vibes almost in the pre-chorus that they had. So I was like,
Right.
oh, this is really cool. Yeah, but like once again, 5.5 minutes. Like, what are they doing?
I think it's
Why is
kind
it
of
so
like
long?
they're long in a very similar way. So each song felt like they just extended another chorus or two or verse at the end after their kind of interlude section, if they did have one. And to me, that just felt like if this record was playing in a venue and people were enjoying it and it was a good vibe for the stage, let's assume it's a live record, then we just want to continue people having a good time.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what they were intending to do. Do you know if they had a live studio audience for this record or any audience?
I don't think so. I don't think this was
Right. I know it's very produced, so it's
Yeah.
a very off chance for that. But yeah, to me, the only context I can imagine is that if they were to like play this in a in a bar, people enjoying it or something like on the jukebox.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then people would like that extended kind of run time for these songs.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just padding. A lot of padding.
A lot of padding.
Yeah, look how much tape we can afford. Kind of like that.
It's a flex.
Yeah, it's more of a flex.
Monetary flex. Yeah. This is it's so funny. We're gonna have like people being like these two zoomers up here, like it's too long, the songs are too long. Like, come on. Like 10 minutes. The next song in my time of dying, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes of time in my time of dying.
Yeah, capital letters in his notes, 10 minutes song.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I don't know. And you know what? This album was kind of a reason why punk became a thing. Was like, it was almost like a statement against music like this. It was like, we're done with the 10-minute songs, right? Like, we don't need to hear the 10-minute songs. We're done with the 3-minute drum solos and the 4-minute guitar solos. Like, we're just get to the point, get it done, have a good time, lots of energy.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was albums like it was totally albums like this, and like Pink Floyd as well, where it was like, okay, it was cool the first time, but like when you come out with like albums worth of just like 10-minute songs with all these, like, especially with prog rock stuff too, it's like that's why punk became such a big thing, right? So
if you cut the last minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes of every song on this record, sped it up by like 10 to 15 BPM, you get a punk record.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
You hear us, Led Zeppelin? You should try that.
Do it. It's going to sell. Royalties, please.
Yeah,
I can be producer.
Yeah. We need the payment for
there,
that.
I just produced the album.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, in my time of dying, 10 minutes. I think I heard this song before, just based off the intro. It was very bluesy. Love the mirroring of the guitar lick and the vocals in this one as well. I think it's really cool. But that's about it. I don't know if I'd revisit that song, but
I like this one a lot, and the reason why, it reminded me of Billy Talent, a song called "Cut the Curtains." That slidey stuff. It really feels like it inspired that riff.
okay.
Boom, boom, bam, boom, boom, bam, boom, bam, boom, boom, dun. It kind of starts kind of like that too.
Yeah.
And it's got this jam band vibe throughout this record.
Yeah.
And I feel like it just felt good to play that riff, so they just went with it, and the whole song came.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's things I definitely like about it, but it's just one of those tracks where I'm like, like, I'll hear it once, cool, but I'm not going to add it to a playlist or anything like that. Houses of the Holy is a classic. Have you heard this one before?
No, I haven't heard. I don't think I've heard any song of this before.
Okay. Whoa.
This is all very new to me.
Whoa. Okay. Wow. I'm so glad that okay. That's really cool. I hadn't heard most of it, but there's a few that I'm very familiar with, and this is one of the songs.
Cool.
This is actually, they came out with an album before this called Houses of the Holy.
Oh.
And this was supposed to be the title track of the album, and then it didn't make the cut for some reason. I don't know what happened, and so then they included it on this album.
That's interesting because I noticed the guitar tone is very different and distinct on this record, on this song, sorry.
Yeah.
And to me, initially, I was like, wow, that's way too thin, it's way too crunchy, what's going on? But it really settled out, and I think whatever they did in the mix helped balance the low end to match the other songs on the record. But the guitar tone in particular was like way out of left field for this record. So that makes a lot of sense.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad. It's cool you noticed that. And I actually was reading up on this album, and they said that there's actually several tracks on here where they had like recorded them before, or like they had like fully fleshed out ideas of these songs like years before this album came out.
Wow.
So it is kind of patchwork, some of the songs, in terms of like how long they'd been working on some of them.
I feel that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. But anyways, yeah, I grew up listening to Houses of the Holy. This riff is undeniable. It's not much more I can say.
Yeah, I felt it was very jubilant, and the guitar playing was awesome, tight, good variations on some of those rhythmic parts.
Yeah.
Even just like certain chords, the way he played it just felt really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, Trample Underfoot. Cool groove to the song. Robert Plant is singing low, which I'm not used to. Robert, as a vocalist, is like, very like.
That was perfect.
Yeah, thank you. My impression of Robert Plant. He almost got kicked out of the band when he first joined.
Why? Because he did that?
Because of his very unique, distinctive voice. Was like, he was very high pitched, very like up there. What?
Unique.
Distinct. I like Robert Plant's voice actually. I think it's really good, and it's part of the reason why Led Zeppelin is so famous is because of his amazing vocal chops. But there were people. It is like a distinguished. It's what do you call it? Like when you get used to the taste of it. It takes a while to get used to for some people.
Acquired taste.
Acquired taste. Yeah. So there were definitely people at the beginning of the band who they'd listen and be like, dude, you guys are sick, but you got to get a new singer, man. Like, and Jimmy Page is like the kind of the band leader, and he was like, you might be right, maybe, I don't know, I kind of like him. And then like I think they either kicked him out for a week and then brought him back in, or like they seriously considered kicking him out and then they ended up staying with him. And I think that was definitely the right choice.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Another singer that comes to mind as an acquired taste is what's the guy's name? The Fuentes guy from Pierce the Veil. It's a metalcore band.
Yeah.
When I first listened to that record, I felt like I thought it was a girl singing.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't a girl.
Oh, I kind of remember. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with Pierce the Veil, but
Yeah. Definitely an acquired taste.
I kind of remember that part now. So, anyways, he's singing really low on this one, and I'm not used to him singing like that. So when I first heard this, I was like, my ears perked up, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool angle to listen to Robert Plant from. So, yeah.
This one was very interesting because it took me a while to pinpoint what song it reminded me of, and then I got it. Take Me Out, Franz Ferdinand. That riff is almost like very resemblance of that thing.
Okay.
And then the whole vibe of this song, Trampled Underfoot, feels like how Take Me Out feels.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think Franz Ferdinand either ripped this stuff off or they just happy coincidence that they like that same feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, listening to this whole album, I was like, this is the bread and butter of like rock music.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, there's so much of what our band, Full Deck, we should listen to our band Full Deck, shameless plug. There's so much of what we do that is just so automatically inspired by Led Zeppelin that we don't even think about it. But it's just so, it's like in the DNA of rock music. And Led Zeppelin they were so heavily inspired by blues, which is 100% DNA of rock music is the blues, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. They just had a really cool tinge on blues rock and kind of made it their own. There's also a lot of controversy with that. It turns out that there was a lot of ripping off of like classic old blues riffs, or like blues riffs that were maybe not as well known at the time, but have like now come to light.
Is this what they call the recycling program?
Yeah.
I think we're green, eco-friendly here.
Yes. Yeah.
Definitely. Recycling happens all the time in music.
Yeah.
That's probably why it's the most eco-friendly discipline of all of them.
Wow, I like that.
You know? Another, I mean, this Jimmy Page guitar in this record, listening through it, I thought to myself, this is a masterclass of what a guitar player should be able to do. His virtuosity, his variety, all the styles, the tones, different guitars he played.
Yeah.
Absolutely masterclass of what it is to be a guitar player. I think you can't call yourself a guitar player unless you learn this album front to back and get all the tones.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's gonna be my task.
Yeah. He that's really cool that you say that. It's gonna be my task. Yeah, I like that a lot. It is really the feel that he brought to guitar, right? I feel like I'm not a great guitar player by any stretch of the imagination, but there were some moments on this album where I was like, I noticed slight imperfections. Where there's like a moment where he like kind of messed up or like wasn't fully pressing down on a string, but they kept it on the album. And it's okay because it's okay to be imperfect. And either way, the stuff he was playing was just like miraculous. Like
Miraculous.
Or just like just his feel when he was playing it. It was like, it's okay that I messed up on this track because the rest of it is amazing. And there's a certain feel that like if I try and record it again, I'm not going to get that same feel that I got on that one.
What struck me about what he played on this record was not just him playing his parts. Like, I wouldn't describe it as him playing his parts. So what he did was he conveyed musical ideas with great clarity.
Yeah.
And that's very different than playing a rock guitar part.
Yeah.
where nowadays in rock albums I listen to in the modern sense, it feels like the guitar players are trying to play a rock guitar part and not convey their musical ideas.
Yeah.
But his whole record is just filled with musical ideas.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's very well said. And he started out as like a session player before he like
Wow.
was in bands and stuff too. So
That's interesting. I mean, imagine around that time, a lot more variety of music was being produced. So
Yeah.
I'm sure he had a lot of tones and tools in his shed that he
Yeah.
could pull up. And he definitely made use of a lot of that on this record.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, we move into one of the most legendary rock songs of all time, a rock radio staple, and just like such a just a really cool song. So I'm glad that you got to listen to this track.
Me too.
I highly recommend you give it a couple more listens if you haven't already, because I like my dad introduced me to like all this classic rock stuff. So I've known this song since like grade 6.
Does that mean you're my dad?
A little bit, yeah.
Wow.
Yes. If you get shown this album from another person, they become your dad.
That checks out for me.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Anyway, yeah, that's so funny. Kashmir, so good. If you haven't listened to this track, it's amazing. So yeah, because when I looked through the track list and I saw Kashmir on the track list, it's like, okay, this is like the anchor. This is like the song from this album that like has stood the test of time. The legendary driving guitar rhythm. Dun-dun-dun, 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 dun-dun-dun. Like this song is the song that like I haven't listened to Led Zeppelin or even any rock stuff for like months or like even a year, and someone would be like, hey, sing Kashmir right now. I can immediately go dun-dun-dun, dun-dun. Like it's just so iconic, and it's so just embedded in my personal like music DNA.
Nice. When I first heard this, the riff off the top, I was like, I know I've heard this before. I don't know where exactly. Initially, I thought Bond, James Bond.
Okay, yeah.
And then I was like, no, it's not exactly.
With the strings?
With the strings. Then the strings started coming in. I'm like, this is a James Bond record.
Yeah.
But James Bond probably got it from these guys. So these guys are the real James Bond.
I was gonna say, I wonder if this was in a Bond movie at the time. Probably not. They were too distinguished at this time to have Led Zeppelin in there.
Losers.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Oh, they couldn't afford it.
Or they couldn't afford it. Yeah. Oh, let the sun beat down upon my face. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I want to listen to this song right now. The amazing use of the strings to intensify the song. The drums from John Bonham are like a standout with the triplets on the kick drum. The only thing I could take away from this song, can you guess what it is?
No.
He looked at my notes, so he would guess. It's an 8-minute song. So it's
an
like
8-minute song.
But you know what? This is the only song that's 8 minutes on this album that don't feel like 8 minutes, in my opinion.
Yes, this was a great arrangement. It felt like a very mature song. So as I listened through it, not only was I hooked on that riff and things that were developing through it, but it felt like there was a lot of intention through all the time in the sections. And so I didn't feel like it dragged on, where the other songs may have felt like an extended verse or chorus kind of thing, or extended jam perhaps near the end. This one felt very intentional, even if there was some similarities in the parts as time went on. So I liked it. It was a good 8 minutes.
Yeah. Can't say that about the rest of the 8 to 10 minute songs. Yeah, as you said, the other ones were kind of repetitive, but this one's really good. Let's move on because I feel like we've been just cherishing the Kashmir song. Did you have anything else you wanted to say? No, you're good.
Yeah.
In the Light. Once again, 7-minute song. Like, really, guys? Like, we just had an 8-minute song. Could you please break it up? At least, like, gosh.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's like the intro is really cool. I couldn't quite pinpoint the instrument though. Was it bagpipes, like with like an effect on it, or?
I don't remember exactly. I know there's some strings happening later on. Did you catch the strings? Because maybe it's strings.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't have it written in my notes, but
okay. I think there are strings.
There might be strings in. Yeah. Okay. Bagpipes. Maybe it's totally not bagpipes, but there is 3 minutes in. There's a cool riff.
Yeah. But 3 minutes.
if you get to 3 minutes in, which is like the end of most songs. But anyways, it's very groovy. It's got a lot of swagger. It's reminding me a lot of Jack White. You know, I'm sure Jack White was was very influenced by these guys, and Jack White also loves all the blues rock stuff that came before Led Zeppelin too. So
he's a big blues rock guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it transitions again. So that's the only thing. At least there's transitions. It's not the same thing over and over again in this song. It transitions again into like a really nice riff crescendo and like a cool drum accompaniment.
That was a nice word.
Drumpany. Yeah, drum accompaniment. But yeah, like it was a cool experience. I don't know if I will like add this to a playlist or anything, but
I like the groove of it. It felt as it went on, it felt groovy, and there's a lot of cool delays happening, effects in that way.
Yeah,
and I think that's the first time I heard some intentional, clear delays in this record, so that really stood out to me.
Okay, yeah. And then finally, we get a nice short song with, I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, Bron-Ear R. Do you want to give it a try?
No,
Okay,
that was perfect.
Bron-Ear R. I have no idea what that title
maybe
is
like
about,
a Scandinavian type of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of giving Scandinavian vibes.
Yeah, this was an amazing palate cleanser.
I loved it.
Not to mention a beautiful performance, and this is when it hit me. Jimmy Page is a master.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Yeah,
he's an amazing guitar player, and this one definitely proves it.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. This is the feel that I was talking about, and this is this is a song where I did notice there's like a bit of like some minor blips in his, like, it wasn't like extremely polished.
Are you saying he's
what?
Are you saying he's a terrible guitar player? Are you saying he's just not up to the task?
People put him in the top 10, like he's 11th max.
I mean, yeah, you miss one string, you drop down 10 spots.
Yeah. It's just so funny to me. Like when we record, it's like everything has to be absolutely polished to perfection, like no mistakes. If you make a mistake, we're going to edit it in post, or you do it again, right? With them, they can't really edit it in post, right? Like they don't have, in 1975, they don't have the recording tech that we have today.
I mean, you can try to cut tape and do that. I mean, there are some edits, but usually it's like you want to do full band sections,
takes.
in that kind of way.
Yeah.
Like you can probably splice like an intro and a verse for the rest of the song, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that still takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
You can mess it up. If the person cutting the tape isn't super familiar with the stuff, and they mess it up, then they're gonna pay out of pocket for the whole other session, and then it gets real messy.
Yeah,
real
exactly.
Quick.
So pragmatically, it was like you play the whole take. You don't try to go back. I think there's also like a sense back then where it was like you don't go back in and like for 10 seconds and re-record.
Yeah.
And like you play the whole thing, or you don't play it at all. What are you, a bad guitar player? You can't play this whole thing perfect front to back.
Yeah, tell him.
Yeah, that was the sense. No, but that was the sense back then. So it was like I could totally see Jimmy Page like recording it and like putting his heart and soul into it, which he did, because you can, from the feel of it, right?
Yeah.
Like it sounds amazing. And then like going back, it's like, oh yeah, it's a little blip there. Whatever. I'm not going back to record that.
Yeah.
We got other 10-minute songs to record here, boys.
Yeah, time's ticking.
Yeah, time's ticking. So the feel sounds great. That's all that matters. The heart and soul is in it. And if there's a couple little imperfections, that's fine, because we're cool with it. And I'm not gonna punch in like for little sections of this, because I'm a real guitar player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it also speaks to what I mentioned earlier about musical ideas versus guitar parts. I think back in the day when you're recording to tape, in the studio, it's capturing a performance. That's what it was. That's what record recording was.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's intertwined with music production, which involves a lot of like infinite number of recording and attempts and refining sounds to where we want it. So we have a different mentality when it comes to what it means to record nowadays versus what it was to record back in the day.
Yeah.
A lot of that's mixed with the technological advancements and price and cost and what have you. But it's also kind of the nature or the environment of musicians nowadays, where we want to capture a music idea to perfection, knowing that we can have multiple takes to it. We're not necessarily too concerned about what a performance is, because the requirement for performance isn't necessarily there
Yeah.
because of the technology. And so it changes our behavior with our instruments, and also behavior with the music that we try to record. And sometimes it makes it feel a little stale.
Yeah.
When we get something super polished, it feels kind of stale.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of like we can appreciate the sound in a different way.
Yeah.
Because of that polished sound is so clear, we can hear everything, and the fidelity is super high.
Yeah.
It's not getting lost in like the live band, live off the floor recording that usually is kind of the nature of past recordings.
Yeah.
So it's a definitely different view, but that it feels like the scales have tipped in a certain way.
Yeah.
Between quality of sound or specificity of sound
Yeah.
versus performance and feel.
Yeah.
And finding that balance nowadays is very challenging,
100%,
because there's only
yeah.
one Jimmy Page, but there's two of us.
Yeah.
And what the hell are we gonna do?
True. Yeah. I do think that the scales have tipped a little bit too far to the let's get the perfect robotic take, even if there's no heart and soul in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, well said. Yeah. So once like we said before, it's a nice short song. It's instrumental too.
Yeah.
And then we go to Down by the Seaside. I loved this song. This is like Led Zeppelin has a few of these in their overall catalog, like really nice, laid back, kind of like vibey, almost poppy, like pop rock
Yeah, this
kind
one
of
felt a little more
song.
poppy.
Yeah. And I really loved it. There's a cool effect on Page's guitar here. That it was a lot of tremolo on there.
Yeah. Tremolo. It was very effective. Initially, I was like, oh, let's just trying to evoke the waves, the waviness of the ocean or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. And it's definitely something I'll probably like add to my library. And there is some transitions halfway through that I thought were cool, some serious jams going on. And yeah, I just overall I really like this track. Good guitar melodies. Yeah. And it wasn't 8 minutes.
Yeah. This track really stood out to me because when I record guitars, I've always wanted to do what they did in this record.
Yeah.
Which was when they pan guitars, one was more rhythm, one was more lead. When the lead was first introduced, it was right channel, and it slowly became center. Mm-hmm. And as soon as it got to center, another guitar came with a lot of reverb. And I was like, whoa, this is cool, because you can feel the lead guitar increasing the focus of what the listener wants to listen to.
Yeah.
But then you're also not left hanging with another guitar part coming in to fill in that space. And so it was just amazing the way it felt natural, as well as very clear that this is stereo, baby, and we can do that.
Yeah.
So that was very effective for me, and I thought, oh, I've always wanted to do that. And every time I shared it with somebody, to going through the editing stage, like, that's too extreme. You can't do that.
Right.
And it's going to be disorienting for the listener. It wasn't disorienting in this one. It felt amazing. So it's reassuring that type of idea has already been done and is done very well in this record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No. Yeah. I do remember cool panning being a thing in this one as well. So yeah, very happy to have this one in the track list. From there on out, though, I can't say I was a huge fan in particular of any of the songs. I feel like we just got more cool riffs. Night Flight really stood out for me. Robert Plant really like killed it on the vocals there, really showing his charisma and his raw talent. But yeah, I just have like in my notes here, just cool riff.
Yeah.
Cool riff.
Night Flight for me reminded me of a song by Jason Mraz. In the storytelling aspect of things, it was kind of like this fictional character going on a journey. So the song by Jason Mraz is called "The Story of Rand McNally," and it's kind of like this alter ego he imagined, where he goes on these mischievous escapades, like stealing from the casino or like stealing someone's girl. And it's like, who is he, Rand McNally? Oh, it's just a mystery. It could be me. And it's like just playful in that way.
Yeah.
And I felt like the song was very evocative of that playful storytelling as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say that like the lyrics are definitely in most Led Zeppelin songs like very dense and very intentional, and I didn't get the chance to like really dig in to the lyrics as much as I would have hoped to. But yeah, lyrically speaking, Led Zeppelin is always, I feel like, kind of top tier.
Yeah.
Right? Like Stairway to Heaven, one of the greatest rock songs of all time. It's like so poetic, right? So yeah, I'm glad that you kind of like highlighted the lyrics. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but in general, I don't have too much else to say about this album. The drums are killer on the last song, Sick Again. I just kind of wish the whole song itself was a little more standout. The Wonton song is like a cool driving riff, but it doesn't like like comparatively to like Kashmir or like some of the other really cool riffs on this album, it was kind of just like felt a bit mid.
Ooh.
Led Zeppelin, mid. The Wonton song, come on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's one part of the song that really stood out to me. Although the riff was interesting, it did sound familiar, and I don't know exactly where it's from.
Yeah, I got that too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't put my finger on what it
Yeah.
reminds me of though. But there was a moment, a minute and 22 seconds in. There's a swell. Well, also even before that, at 110 there's an interlude. At the end of the interlude, there's a swell. So that's a minute and 22 seconds, and it's all production. It did this thing. It's almost like a reverse cymbal effect that we get now in modern day music. It's like, shoop. And when I first heard that, I was like, wow, you got my attention again. Where my attention was fading before that, after the riff was like, whatever, that's kind of cool. I don't know what's going on. This thing happened. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
this was amazing. The budget happened in this 1 second.
Right. Yeah.
All the budget. So yeah, that was very cool. Cool moment. And I
Nice.
appreciate that. It sounded very modern, especially for the time.
Okay. Yeah. Boogie with the Stew is another song on this, and I was reading about this album, and apparently this is actually a Richie Valens cover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who he was like a one of the he was like a Latino rock singer in the 50s, and he's like part of that tragic airplane crash with Buddy Holly in it. I don't know if you have, like in rock
I knew
history.
of Buddy Holly dying in a plane crash.
Yeah, so Buddy Holly died in a plane crash. Richie Valens was on tour with Buddy Holly. He also died in the plane crash. And there was there's another artist on there as well. Apologies, I forget the name. He was like more of like a pop singer at the time. Teddy something. But anyways, so someone in the comments, please mention his name as well, because it's only right to remember fully. But Richie Valens had La Bamba.
Okay.
That was
Yes.
like his big song.
Sounds familiar.
And so anyways, I thought it was cool that they went back and did like a cover of one of his other songs. I'm not aware of the song, but I was like, oh, it's a cover.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was nice. I thought that having this song included in the record was very effective to showcase the variety of like guitar styles and playing, which for me overall encompasses this record as like a guitar masterclass, basically.
Yeah.
A rock guitar masterclass, and including a really classic boogie woogie type of thing in there is great. So
Yeah.
did a great job with that one.
This album as a whole felt like I was on a pilgrimage to just like a pilgrimage that every rock person should take.
Yeah,
Like if you're a fan of rock music, if you play in the rock genre at all, you should take this pilgrimage to this album every once in a while, or like to this band, and just remember and just realize like, okay, this is where a lot of what we do comes from.
yes. It feels very foundational.
Yeah.
Very informative, and also at the same time very respective of what came before, the blues stuff.
Yes.
In the transition from blues to blues rock to now what they are doing at this
Which is
time.
rock and like hard rock
Yeah,
stuff.
you can hear it, you can see it, where they got it from, where the roots are from the blues stuff.
Yeah.
And seeing how they transform it.
Yeah, 100%. So with that being said, let's give our scores.
Wow.
So I feel like I just hyped it up a lot there, and I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. So once again, so for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna give score out of 5. Karen's gonna give score out of 5. I'm Jesse, by the way. And
Hello, Jesse.
hello,
My dad.
and so we're gonna combine our scores to make it a score out of 10. And if we give it a 9 or more, then it gets the coveted Golden Note certificate. And maybe we'll do like a performance of one of the songs in the album, or do something special in relation to this album. So I'm going to give it a 4. The only reason I'm not going higher than that is I just really think that it gets bloated with like how long some of the songs are. It's okay if you have 1 or 2 that are at like 8 minutes or more, but when you have 4 or 5 songs on an album that are like approaching the 10-minute mark, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? So that's the only thing, is it felt bloated. And then like the last 4 songs really didn't do much for me in terms of like standing out or anything. So that's why I'm not going to go higher than a 4, but I'm going up to a 4, which is, I just think is still a great score because of how foundational everything is and how at home I felt on this album and some of the very amazing guitar work. It was a guitar masterclass, as you said, Karen, and just like the musicianship throughout from all the artists in the band. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
yeah.
And this might be the highest score I give thus far.
I knew this was going to be it. Yeah,
This is a 4 for me.
4 as
It's a
well.
4. It's not a 5. It's not a 5
Karen has
because
never. Yeah, this is the first time Karen's hit a 4
Yeah.
on an album.
I kind of wanted to give it a 5, but I know there is going to be something even more important because this is still pretty early in the lineage or the timeline of rock music, of guitar style music. And there can only be, I mean,
There can only be one.
there can only be one. And we haven't even got to the jazz stuff yet. So,
Karen, you're supposed to rate them as a standalone, like a project. Come on.
Well, no.
Don't.
In terms of like guitar music, which is what I'm focusing on here, it's like there's a lot of great stuff in here. Definitely guitar masterclass.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't call myself a guitar player unless I learn this album front to back.
Wow.
And I definitely stand by that.
Yeah.
I'm going to share this with my students and tell them you can't call yourself a guitar player until you learn this album.
There you go.
So that's why I give it a 4.
Nice.
Great job.
Okay. So with that, it's 8 out of 10. Very, very good. Probably, definitely our highest score to date, I think.
Yeah.
So give this album a listen, and specifically the tracks that we highlighted there, and you will not be sorry. This is a pilgrimage to one of the greatest rock albums and rock artists to have ever existed. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a comment. Let us know how you feel about this album. If it'll let us know how you felt about our coverage of this album as well. And yeah, just have a good rest of your day, I guess.
More importantly, actually, just let us know who your dad is.
Yes.
Please.
Also do that. Appreciate all of the dads that introduced this album to their children, and passed it down in the classic rock lineage.
Perfect. There we go. Thank you.